and welcome to The Fool and the Philosopher.
The Philosopher and the Fool.
So I made a terrible mistake last week where it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. Basically, we had a guy come up from Quebec. Yeah, from Quebec. And he's like this specialized trainer, so we had to spend as much time with him as we could while we had him. He's very expensive to bring up. So worked very long days for 6 days. We worked the weekend as well, right? Yeah. And so I was exhausted. My job's already exhausting. I work a lot of overtime, like doing all that, right? So I was like, and my boss keeps going after me like, when are you going to take vacation time? You have tons of vacation time. When are you going to take vacation? When are you going to take vacation? So I said to him, okay, can I just take the week after next off? Because there's no classes. I'll just take it off and, just recover from losing my weekend and everything. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, no, great. Because it was a bit short notice, right? But he's like, yeah, no problem. Go ahead, do it. So that was my terrible mistake, was taking time off.
Because you got a cold.
Every time I take time off, and it's not like, there was a lot of people sick around me. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll probably get sick like by Monday or Tuesday. I'll probably be coughing a bit and have a runny nose and that'll suck, but whatever. But no, every time it's like the last Friday of work, I get my last big thing done before my time's off, right? Yeah. So I'll finish like, okay, that big thing's done. Now I can just cruise for the rest of the day, get a couple more hours of work done, but nothing important because I can't plan anything because I'm going to be gone for a week. Yeah. But no, the moment I'm done, my health plummets. I can barely sit. I'm like out of it. I'm in a daze. I can't move. I can't think. I'm in pain. This happened to me back in December as well, where it just like instantly, boom, crash. Everything's gone. And this happened to me in March as well, because we had a small March break. Mm-hmm. Everything just crashes instantly. Like the moment it's time for a long weekend, boom, everything crashes. And I have a theory about that, and I'm pretty sure most people would have the same theory. But I was also, yesterday, I went for a walk, and I hadn't for the last 2 days because I have actually been like so sick is kind of the wrong impression almost. I've just been like, I've been in so much pain. My mind hasn't been working and just, all that sort of thing. I've just been done, right? But I went for a walk yesterday and I was still pretty sick and not feeling so great. But I actually wanted to go for a walk. I was like, yeah, I want to go for a walk. So I was like, oh great. I actually feel like, because I go for a walk every day. That's part of the story, I guess, for people that don't know me. All right. I hadn't been able to do it for 2 or 3 days, which is really unusual for me. So anyways, I go for a walk. And by the end of the walk, which was fairly short, but by the end of it, my legs felt great. And I was like, they feel better than they did like a week ago when I wasn't sick. Yeah. And my mind in some ways is actually working better than a week ago when I wasn't sick. And I think I was like, I forget what it's called, but you can like damage it's like you cause your bone marrow to go into your bloodstream or something. Like, I'm not saying that's what I did, right? But it's like, overexertion. That's what. Yeah, it doesn't have to be that extreme or that explicit or that exact thing, right? It's just overexertion is sort of this physical condition where you just push yourself too hard, and you don't actually get stronger; you get weaker because you don't give yourself any time to bounce back and recover. Yeah. And I think I was probably just doing that on every level, like physical, mental, everything. Yeah. And my immune system was just massively suppressing itself so that I could keep going. Yeah. But the moment I told it, "Hey, you're safe now." Like safe, right? Because there's no big task or anything. It's like, okay, it's payback time. You have to pay back in.
The stress shuts down your immune system, so your body can keep running.
I think it's been doing more than my immune system though. Like, my T-shirt has been causing me immense pain all over my body because it feels like it's like crushing me because my skin is so sensitive. Like all my skin is so sensitive. Like I think my pain receptors were also dialed way down. Yeah. And so now bringing them back to normal, they're like, whoa, everything hurts. Everything's too much pressure. It's like I have sunburn everywhere. Yeah.
Well, stress can do crazy stuff to the body.
But I think like even being sick, I feel better now than I did last week in a lot of ways. And so I don't know what the solution to that is. Obviously the solution is never take a vacation and die of a heart attack when you're 50. But besides that, the solution is to not be stressed by your job as much, right? Or to pace yourself more. But you need a job that allows that. And that's hard to carve out.
When I was working at the greenhouse, I had very random hours. I'd sometimes been told to phone to like come in. Sometimes there'd be phones like, oh, we don't need you today.
Yeah, random hours have been a killer for me.
But one of the things I did is I was playing, during that time, I was playing D&D online with a friend of ours, well, 2 friends of ours and 2 other people. Yeah. And it was on Sundays, Sunday morning. And so I told my boss, I am not available every Sunday. Yeah. And she is old-fashioned enough to interpret that as like, oh, he's going to church on Sundays. So it's like, you can't work because of church. And it's like, if that's how your cognitive dissonance can allow you to make it so I don't work on Sundays, it's fine. But it's like, oh, I need someone to cover for these days. Like, oh, can you do this? Like, no, I do not work Sundays. I can come in Saturday. I'll not come in Sunday.
But, like, when I work from 11 to 7, right,
Yeah.
every day, and then I'm told, okay, you need to come in for 9, and we're working until 10, like, at night, right?
Yeah.
Like, 9 in the morning to 10 at night or something. It's like, you can't make plans with anyone. You can't plan your own life. Like, my writing, I'd almost caught back up to where to where I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And now I am well behind in my writing. My video editing, I try to have a 3-week buffer. I lost that 3-week buffer when I made my first Pokemon video because that took 100 hours.
Yeah.
I'd gotten up to 2.5 weeks. And then this guy came up, and now I have like half a week buffer.
Yeah.
So I lost 2-week buffer just from this guy coming up for a week. I don't even know how that's possible. I lost 2 weeks in a week.
Yeah.
Well, because I haven't been able to do anything since I got sick either. So yeah, it's very hard to, like, an unstable job position, even if you work less hours, which I don't exactly because of overtime, but even if you work less hours, it's very tricky to balance out. It's like, I think stable, maybe, you know, grass is always greener on the other side, but I think a stable 9 to 5, well, you were telling me you recently did a video on 40-hour work week. Right?
Yeah.
So that was like 9 to 5, right? That was the idea. But now there's unpaid lunch. And so 9 to 5 isn't 8 hours anymore.
Yeah.
So, that bothers me.
That actually drove me insane at
You have to work 8:30 to 5.
a job. Whenever jobs have the unpaid lunch,
Yeah.
I basically say, no, let me just work.
Yeah.
And that's actually something that happened at the greenhouse. Was our boss basically said, now technically we're supposed to do a paid lunch,
Yeah.
but unpaid lunch, like you're supposed to get a break and you're supposed to have 15-minute breaks,
Yeah.
but I hate those.
Yeah.
And so here's the deal. You can go take them if you want to. You say, I'm taking my lunch break, and you can say, I'm taking my break, and you have like an hour's worth of break, and basically let me know when you're taking your break and write down your amount of hours. And if you don't take any breaks, then that's fine by me. And one of the things that really annoyed me, though, was at one point when we were writing up like the amount of hours, and she said, I'm not certain I believe you those hours because like you take, like you have to walk to your car, you have to like do the time breaks, all that.
Jeez.
And I said, I don't take lunch breaks. I don't eat lunch. I don't take breaks. Like my time schedule is perfect that I've written down. I don't have those, ooh, I'll make up this little 5 minutes here and this little 5 minutes here. I work more than that.
But the fact that she's counting like you walking to your car and back as well is ridiculous.
Well, it's like, it adds up over time to like an hour. And it's like, but I'm an advocate for myself. It's like, no.
Yeah. And it's all, well, and then you say, yeah, and guess what? That's part of my job.
Yes.
So that adds up too. Like, oh, you know, I actually have to drive here.
Yeah.
And I have to get ready for work. I have to clean my shoes. I have to wash my clothes more than often because I work in a greenhouse.
Yeah.
I have to take more baths and all. That adds up, you know. So
My hand maintenance, like, good. When I was working in that greenhouse, my hands were destroyed.
if you start really fighting for the little things, like the tiny little minutia, then you are inviting everything else that everyone does for your job that you're unaware of, and they're going to stop doing it. They do. Your employees do so much for free for you.
Yeah.
That you should be aware of if you're a boss. Clearly, she's not. Like just little things. Like for example, my job, I have to wash my shoes like once a month.
Yeah.
Because I am in a gym like nonstop with the same shoes on, right?
Yeah.
That's like 15 minutes to half an hour to an hour or 2 hours even every month.
So you don't even escape this concept when you're a contractor.
Oh.
So my job quite literally is, if we're to look at the brass tacks.
Yeah, your job is someone wants to live in a house and you tell them no.
Basically. No, my job is someone wants
May I stop being homeless, please?
a report.
No.
Someone wants a report.
Yeah.
That's my job, is someone wants to know what is wrong with their house energy-wise, how they can make their house better. So my job is to go into their house, measure it, gather data points, and send them a pre-generated report. That's my entire job, description-wise.
Yeah.
However, I go there, I talk with the person, I say, okay, what's the problems with your house? Where does it feel cold? One client's like, my electricity bill is really high. Do you think you can help me with that? And I was like, okay, you're the third person that asked me this now. I've been doing a little bit of research on my off time. I've asked other people who are more experienced in the job than me. And so, yeah, I think I can help you now. And so I like go over the stuff with them, how they can get their bill down. And then it got to the point, this one house where she's like, yeah, so my husband went down to the crawl space and he found a bunch of heaters.
He hasn't come back.
He found a bunch of heaters that were on in the crawl space to heat it up, like these electric heaters. And so we turned those off, but it didn't have any impact on our electric bill. And I'm sitting there like doing some of my stuff. And she's like, see? And she hands me her electric bill. I look at it. It's like, give me your other electric bills for like these different months. Like, okay, when did you turn this off? And she's like, oh, we did it in January or whatever. It's like, all right, so you didn't see impact because you turned it off a little bit before January. And January is the coldest month of the year by a long shot, especially this year. So, no, it did save you about $400 doing that if I actually look at the trends and do it properly here.
Yeah.
And so, no, it did have an effect. So one of the big costs for you was the thing in your crawl space.
There's also...
And so it's like all that extra work. And why I do that extra work, though, is because it can add like a half an hour to an hour to my assessment time. But if I don't do that, then they might send me emails.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I want the least in the world, is to send me emails. Or they might phone me. I can handle them phoning me a little bit more. But them sending me emails, I despise that.
No, I think emails are bad.
Well, it's one thing is like, I'm done with you. I did the report. I sent it to you. If you want your post-assessment, contact me. And then I can work with you again for the post-assessment. But then I'm done with you again. Because I don't get paid by the hour. I don't get paid a consulting fee. I get paid once. And anything more means that the amount of pay I earn from working with you goes down. And that makes me like you less. And I want to like you because I want to help you get as much of a rebate as you can.
Yeah. So there's so much like unpaid time that goes into every job.
Yeah.
And if you start nickeling and diming them for the little minutes that you think you're losing out, then they're going to make sure that you get all your minutes and not a cent more.
Yes.
They're not going to prep at home. They're going to wash their clothes at work.
Yes.
You don't want to start that trend. That's a downward spiral for everyone.
I even tell some people the one thing they say is, should I be at the house during the report? And I say, all right, if you're at the house, you're going to learn a lot more, and it's going to take me a lot longer to do.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be talking to you. And it's like, in situations where the person was in there like basically the whole time, like they basically unlocked the door and let me in, it literally cuts 45 minutes off my assessment.
There's also, I don't know if, look, you're the house inspector, not me, so don't take my word as gospel here. But with the electricity bill, they're estimates in winter a lot of the time because the electric company doesn't want to go door to door and actually look at the bills.
No, so I'm not concerned with their electric bill.
Yeah.
It's not even part of my job.
Right, you're just telling them, like, this is what you can do and this will help. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
But if they're like, why is my electric bill the same? It's like, well, because both of those are just estimates.
Yeah.
Like, that could be the reason. Right? Like,
yeah. No, it can get absurd sometimes. Like, with one person, they were given bad advice by multiple people about how to run their house. Mm-hmm. And there were so many different parts of bad advice. But basically, at one point, they told her, okay, so when you leave the house, you want to turn the temperature down so just nothing freezes. So, like, set the thermostat to 14. When you get back into the house, set it to 19. She's like, I can't do that. I will freeze. It has to be at 21. It's like, lady, you're from Russia. Like, you should be able to handle that. And two, just wear a sweater. Like, if you run off electric heat, and I've done enough places now to know that heating is by far the most expensive thing you can do in your house. Like,
look, you wear t-shirts at like -10, okay? Yeah. 19 is cold for normal people.
They should just wear a sweater then.
Sweaters hurt. They're heavy.
Then they can pay more for their electric bill.
Well, yeah, that's.
But if you want to cut it down,
right.
There are sacrifices to make.
I want it all.
One of the worst things she got advice is she had electric heat, right?
Yeah.
And someone told her that you shouldn't turn your heat down because the startup shutdown cost is greater than the constant having to run it. And so when she is not at her house for 8 hours a day, every day, she's having her heat run at 21.
Yeah, that's probably true if it's like
that's true.
If it's like a furnace, right?
If it is a really inefficient oil furnace, and that advice only applies as well as if you want to get hot really fast, because you can turn those things on slowly.
Right.
And so if you turn on slowly, it doesn't burn all.
And I'm sure the time frame isn't 8 hours either.
Yeah. Electricity is 100% efficient. You turn electricity off, it's off. You turn it on, it's on. There is no startup shutdown cost. That's why electric cars are amazing when it comes to driving. Like, I have by myself doing driving habits of a gas-powered car with electric cars. Like, oh, I've got to slow down, I've got to slow down, I've got to slow down. Okay, I can go at the red lights. No. If there's a red light in your electric car, you just go, you stop. And then the red light goes off and you go, and you start again.
I mean, you are losing that momentum, which would save you some.
Yeah. But it's, well, the regenerative braking, though.
Yeah, it's not
perfect.
But, regenerative braking's not perfect.
Yeah, but it's that's the thing with like the electric heater is even better than that, because there's no momentum or friction.
Yeah.
It's just pure resistance heating.
There's probably, I was thinking about this, and I'm not sure what electric companies do. Maybe you know, actually. I'm kind of curious about this. So you're an electric company. You provide to a large region, right? And they don't really, in most nations, in Australia they have batteries, but they don't really in a lot of places have batteries. There's some places that have flywheels and stuff. But let's say it's, I don't know, 5 o'clock at night. Everyone's making supper and like doing their laundry, right?
Yeah.
And then everyone stops doing their supper and stops doing laundry. And you've had your generators cranked up to meet that demand, right?
Yeah.
And then suddenly everyone stops. Like, why don't the lines explode? Like, you're generating way more electricity. So, like, do they have a ground somewhere that, like,
no,
an overflow? Or do they have a flywheel that goes like, whoa?
No. They have a control room, which is basically always occupied by someone.
Yeah.
Who's in there directing how much something should be running.
Yeah.
Because you need to constantly be doing it. Like in the big power plants that like run, like Texas, like they have like these big plants, and the guy who runs the director thing, he's sitting there and his job's like airport control, but more stressful.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wait, we need more power here, we need to shut down here, we need direct power here. This nuclear power plant is cycling more power, so we have to turn off those solar to like send it through here.
Yeah, but in that brief second, like, you have a reaction time, right? That's going to be lower than the grid, right?
Yeah, so you set up your line to be able to handle just that bump.
Like, yeah, I guess.
It has to be set. That's why the solar program was canceled here, is so everyone was getting solar.
They couldn't handle the on-off of all the solar.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's why the battery install is trying to be done.
But couldn't you just have, like, you just have a flywheel standing by, and then whenever there's excess energy, it just starts spinning?
Oh, yeah. No, that is one of the potential things for the future is like flywheel. There's a whole bunch of different
Like, not even storing energy, right? Yeah. Just, like, not having your grid overload.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's a whole bunch of different things for that.
And I wonder if there's also just a ground. There must be a ground somewhere where they're just like, we got too much power, just dump it.
You can't really do that.
Why not? You just chuck it into the ground. You're just like...
It's really dangerous.
Fry some earthworms.
It's really dangerous. I suppose if you want to do something cool, you could like set up some Tesla coils.
Because I've seen in transformer stations, they have these emergency breakers.
Yeah.
These giant like steel connecting points that they just... And then of course power lines have those great big boxes full of gunpowder in them.
Yeah.
That they just like...
Yeah, so if you do that, grounding thing, that can basically make all the lines catch fire. Because it's really hard to control the surge of power being grounded into the ground. You basically need like a bunch of resistor boxes and various other things. And
what if you had like a...
It's far better just to not waste power, because if you waste power, that's losing money.
But just sometimes like imagine if everyone in sync stops their dryers at the same time, right? Yeah. Suddenly you have way more power than you know what to do with. You turn on the laser. You just have a laser that... Like,
yeah.
That'd be cool.
They might have stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Like whatever fires up fastest, basically.
I was listening to a podcast...
Or maybe you just have a giant, like,
about
cube of glass somewhere.
I was listening to a podcast about energy density.
Yeah.
Apparently batteries are worse than wood for energy density.
Oh. Wow.
Like the amount of weight that a lithium battery has versus like a piece of wood that weighs the same amount.
Huh.
Batteries are worse. And it's like...
What are those things called? Superconductors. They probably use those somewhere.
Yeah, they could. You could develop this further.
Well, I mean, no, like the ones we have now, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're not useful, but they can charge like instantly, right?
Yeah.
Not superconductors. What am I thinking of?
Capacitors.
Maybe.
It's what's in a camera flash.
Whatever I'm thinking of. Those things that can instantly charge.
Yeah, those are for camera flashes.
Yeah. You have too much power, you just...
Yeah.
Maybe something like that.
I think one of the coolest batteries I heard about is it's how to sell electricity to people.
Yeah.
is you take metal slag and you turn it to steel wool.
Yeah.
And you get giant, like, tons and tons of steel wool.
Yeah.
Then you ship it across the ocean.
And you burn it?
And you give it to someone who has a power plant that can burn steel wool. The steel wool burns, then you gather up the slag, you ship it back across the ocean, and you turn it back into steel wool. And that's a way to sell electricity.
It seems like the shipping would be inefficient, but maybe not.
It wasn't with their calculations. But like that's a way to...
You know what bothers me about that,
battery.
though? Like you say that batteries are less efficient than wood, right?
Yeah.
But once you account for the transfer of the battery to electricity, like a battery, you plug it in, you have electricity, right?
Yeah.
The wood, you burn, you have a little generator,
Yeah.
you lose like 90% of, I don't know what it is, but you lose a huge amount of efficiency right there, right?
The burning process, it depends on the stove and the source, but wood can, at best, I think, can be 86% efficient.
That's actually better than I thought, if that's the...
Yeah, it's like at best it can be in the 80s.
But like you lose a huge amount of efficiency right there in the conversion step, right?
There's also like the transporting wood. The wood can only be used once, whereas you can recharge the battery. There's a bunch of different factors to be considered with it. But all the stuff we're talking about, like you're asking me like I'm an expert. I'm not. I've just had to figure this out because people want more information.
Yeah. You should do an assessment of your own place.
Assessments have been done by other people.
Yeah, but you could do your own. You could be like, you could like berate yourself. What are you doing here? Dishes in the sink? Just like you do with your customers.
I don't judge people's houses on how messy they are, unless there's open fecal matter.
Yeah, yeah. That's -1 for the old air quality score.
Yeah, no, it's a cat had an accident and missed the litter, and I said, I am not doing my blower door until you clean that up because it's going to draw it up through the house, and I have to stand next to this blower door for about 10 to 15 minutes, and I'll be.
Alternatively, you just do the blower door test, and then they don't have to clean it up because you just suck it out. You're just like.
No. Alternatively, what I could do is instead of depressurizing the house, I could pressurize the house, and it would aerate it throughout the whole building.
Do you like the blower doors are quite strong, right?
Yeah.
Is there ever issue with papers or anything?
No. It's influencing pressure. It's only if something's near them.
Or like packing peanuts.
It's only so I've had issues. So the issues that I I've had it happen twice.
Yeah.
Is if there's the fine particulates inside a chimney and the flue's not closed or the door's not closed properly.
Yeah.
Is it can suck those out.
Right.
And make a massive mess and like they pool in the air and they start spreading. The other one that had happened, so I guess it's 3 times, is the wife had been informed, the guy hadn't, so he lit a fire in the morning.
Yeah.
They didn't tell me they had done that. The embers were still in the stove.
Oh.
They left the house. I started my blower door, and smoke started filling the house incredibly quickly.
Yikes.
And I walked over to the stove, I turned off it, and I opened it up, and there's like these logs that are like glowing and like have sparks on them. So I found their gloves.
Yeah.
I put on their gloves. I took the fire out of the stove. I opened up the door that was nearby. I put it outside on the ground.
Yeah.
I then scooped up a bunch of ashes and I completed the test.
Or like you depressurize the house, right? So then the fish tank starts boiling.
No, I can't do that much. So the one thing that some people are concerned about is like, oh, I'm concerned about my baby, or I'm concerned about myself with the pressure, and it's like, by the point that my blower door could cause you harm, it would destroy your house.
Yeah.
Like you would lose windows before any harm could happen to you from depressurization, because your house isn't built to be a vacuum chamber, so something will fail before you do.
That said, just because the depressurization isn't a problem, right?
Yeah.
I think this is the same thing that happens. We were talking about vaccines earlier, right?
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing that happens with that, where no, the vaccine's totally harmless, and maybe it is, right? But it's the everything else.
Yes.
Like maybe the blower door emits gamma rays that will vaporize babies or something, right? Like there's always a reason when there's something that's very powerful to be like, I'm going to be extra cautious here.
Yes. No, that's the whole thing is we tell people you cannot have a fire going beforehand or the morning of we do the blower door test. And I've had situations, like that one there where I took out the fire.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have performed the test at all. I should have just packed up and left.
Yeah.
Other people where I had to drive like 40 minutes to get to their house.
Yeah.
And they had embers in their stove and it's hot. I was like, all right, so I can go home and then drive back out here again and set up a different day.
And you get paid the same.
So what I said to them is, it's like, I knew the couples, like I liked them well enough. And it's like, all right, we're going to shovel up all the embers from the stove. We're going to put it outside. And then we're going to put wet towels into the fireplace. We're actually going to like soak towels from your bathroom. We're going to put them in there. And then when I'm satisfied that the fireplace is cool enough, we'll do the blower door test.
Yeah.
And so I sat down on the couch and had like an hour-long conversation with the couple. And then I got off like, okay, yeah, I think I can perform the test now. And why that is it could cause a chimney fire.
Yeah. Actually, that was the thing I was going to talk about was, so 9 to 5, right?
Yeah.
40 hours a week. And then you've got another 128 hours in the week. Great. 40 hours, you make your living, everyone's happy. You got 128 hours to do what you want with, right? Yeah. Most of that's sleeping, but you got a bunch more, right? Yeah. Awesome. Except, half an hour is unpaid, so it's actually 8:30 to 5.
Yeah.
And then you also have to get ready for work. So that's an extra half hour there. So it's more like 8 to 5. But it's half an hour to drive to work and half an hour to drive back. So it's 7:30 to 5:30.
There's half an hour standing in the closet screaming.
Well, you actually, I mean, maybe not that exactly, but there is a decompression point,
yes.
like where you're unable to function after work for a while because you're so exhausted from it. So that's another, for me, that was another 3 hours after work until I switched to 30 hours a week because my job was so, well, I was also working like 60 hours of overtime in the course of 3 months. So, I wasn't actually working 40 hours a week. Yeah. But the exhaustion can really get you. And so you actually have to decompress. And it would take me until about halfway through Sunday to get to the point where I could start enjoying my weekend because I finally had my energy back. And then there's, that's not just my job. I should point this out. I do like an hour to 3 hours of extra work that isn't my job every day. Like I do writing and video editing and video recording. And you do the same sort of thing. Like it's a lot more than just your job, right? Like there's a whole lot going on.
And so this is one thing I realized because I've been trying to do about a video a week.
Yeah.
I used to do one every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And one of the things I realized is there's a certain amount of time, which some people say, oh, don't wait for inspiration to strike.
Yeah.
But there's a certain amount of time that I actually need just to sit on things.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not actively thinking about them, it's in the background of my mind. And it's like, okay, I figured out the mod now. And then I don't do anything with that like video like for a day.
Yeah.
And then I come back to it and it's like, okay, now I'll set it all up. So I spend some time setting it up and then I get that done. And then I leave that for a bit and then I come back to it and I will walk through it. And I won't do anything and then I'll come back to it again. And then I'll do the recording and then I'll go, that recording's stuck. And I'll delete the whole file and I'll do a second recording. And then I don't go straight to editing after that. I leave it.
Yeah.
So I can look at it with fresh eyes and do the editing. And then I do my voiceovers during the editing. And I tried to edit this process once I've done my first edit. I tried to go back and edit again. But I'm so sick of the thing about that point that I don't want to do another edit.
Yeah, and then you're done.
Yeah.
It's gone. No, the secret is to record everything a year in advance. And then you have no idea what was going on.
Yeah. Well,
and then
one of the boons is actually being, I've embraced the fact that half my videos now, I'm going to delete the audio of, and I'm going to re-record it while sitting there.
Yeah.
And sometimes I will change the tone of my voice so people know that it's a re-recording. It's like, oh, there's a difference. And sometimes I will imitate, it's still my first impression, like, oh wow, this is so cool. I'll do it where it's appropriate. But it's like, I scuffed the reading there.
Yeah.
And this is just a guideline.
Make it clear, yeah.
Sometimes I'll even have, all right, this is editing Connor here.
Yeah. No, I wish I had more time to do more of that stuff like I did in my first videos. Because, like my very first, well, not my very first video, but my first one from let's say the restart of putting videos on my channel, like the first Here's My Magic video. That was 300 hours of editing. Right, like I re-recorded everything multiple times, like all the voice lines. I animated my units moving on the screen. I added in every sound effect, every music clip,
I think the most time I've ever spent working on a video in total.
I added in mouse clicks so that it would be more convincing. But
I think the most time I've ever done in total is maybe 60 or 80 hours. But like 100 seems too much.
No, this is 300.
Yeah, that's like 100 seems too much to me.
No, 100 was my Pokemon one.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, like the Pokemon one, it's kind of different, right? Like it's...
Now, the big thing for me is when I make videos is I do them in crunches. So it's not like, oh, I do an hour here, I do an hour there.
Yeah.
I will do that, but usually I'm working on the video and then I work for 8 hours on it.
Yeah.
in a period. But so besides that thing, so one of the things I talk about, and this is very important, this is what I talked about in my hour-long cooking video, which I feel like I kind of want to do unedited just to like make it the absolute trash video it is if we look at the medieval period and we look at peasants, we're going to go to a rainy little island called England, which they actually had higher work hours than both France and Spain. Recorded work hours. They had less holidays as well. Instead of having like, I think France had like 200 days of holidays. England only had about 150 days of holidays. So, and not everyone did all that. So one of the things that you have to be aware of, you can't work in the winter. If you're a peasant, you simply can't work in the winter. There's things you can do in the winter, but your main job you can't do. When you're harvesting the fields, so let's say you're a serf, so you're a landed serf, which means you belong to the land and it belongs to the lord, and you have to do a certain amount of work for him. You also have to do a certain amount of work for yourself. Let's say you have 4 acres. So an acre is how much you can get done in a day. That's literally what the measurement's meant to be for. It's how much land you can plow in a day. So if you have 4 acres, then that's 4 days you have it all plowed. Then you plant it, that's another 4 days, that's 8 days. You can't actually do anything more with that land until it's grown. Basically, you make sure it doesn't go bad. You're done. So, but then you have to work for the Lord. Your Lord has to do work. The Lords are reasonable, though. If they're not, their serfs can actually leave and become a serf of a different guy's land. That is a reality of the English serf, is you would still be a serf, you'd still be a peasant, but you go, I don't like this guy. Hey, Duke John, can I go work for you instead? And he's like, sure, I've got some land that you can clear. Like, you'd have to do all the work to clear land, but you can live there instead. And so you have to do another 4 acres of work on your lord's land. So you do that, and that's another 8 days. So that's 16 days. It's going to be 3 more months before you can do anything. Now there's other jobs, there's other tasks, like you have to whitewash his castle walls, you have to do various different things, but he's only going to be taking about 3 of your days a week. And that's like, there'll be holidays, there'll be times where there's just not work to be done. So then there's but you're a medieval peasant, so you have to slop out the pigs, and you have to knit your breeches, and you have to cook yourself medieval meals, and you have to do all this stuff. And people, when they look at that time period historically, they throw all that into the workday of the medieval peasant. The mundanities of life are not your job. And the peasants' mundanities of life were pretty big, because they didn't have washing machines and dishwashers and electric stoves. They had to cook on fires. But they would adapt to that. You would set up the lentil stew in the morning, and it would boil away, and then you could come back and eat it. But even then, let's say they had 2 hours of mundanity.
You could turn that gris L into a gris W.
Yes. They have, like, per day, they have 2 hours of mundanity in their life. And that is not their job. They will do them at the pace of which they're satisfied with. A more messy peasant won't do them as well as a more diligent peasant. And that is just your life. That is not your job. And for some reason, because we have all these things and expectations, we don't account for that in our own time frame as much.
Oh, yeah, like, so you're saying, oh yeah, we work way less, and then it's like, yeah, but what about doing the laundry and cooking and...
Well, it's not even that. The peasants worked way less than us.
Yeah.
They worked way less than us because their mundanities of life were greater, but that wasn't their job.
Yeah.
That was just them living.
Yeah.
Like, they can be there with their wife, helping her out and do that and talking with each other.
Yeah.
Or you could go to your mate's house, like 2 peasant hovels over, and repair the roof with him. Well, my friend... That's not your job. Repairing the roof with him, that isn't your job. But historians, for some reason, take you going over to Saget's house and repairing his roof as a part of his work hours.
Right. Actually, yeah, my friend came up recently, and he wasn't here very long, and it didn't really work that we were able to see each other. But the day he came up, I went over to his place, to his parents' place, and him and his brother were there tearing apart garden beds. Like, these were big old garden beds, a lot of nails. We had to hammer out all the nails, unbend them. So I just took off my sweater and started helping them, right? So we spent like 3 or 4 hours just tearing apart these nail beds, taking nails, sorting the good lumber from the bad, chucking out the bad lumber. Right? And then my friend apologized, like, oh, sorry, the only thing we got to do while I was up was just like this work, right? And I was like, it's not, like, we could have been playing video games or going for a walk, but it's all the same. We're spending time together. Like, it doesn't actually matter. This was great. I had a great time. Right? Like, And I think that, like you're saying, you're going over to your neighbors to fix the roof. It's like, yeah, that's what you're doing. That's entertainment. That's and not just entertainment, fulfilling entertainment, because you're doing a favor for your neighbor and you're bonding with your neighbor. Like, it's entertainment's the wrong word even. It's deeper than entertainment, and that's a good thing. And it's like, yeah, we could have been doing, like, video games would have been fun as well, like, to play with him, right? But it's like, this is the same thing. We're spending time together. Right?
Yeah. So, anyways, there was this brief 200-ish year period called the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah, things went bad.
Where people were working for 100 hours a week at times.
Yeah.
The average was about 70, but people were working for 100 hours. A very interesting thing happened during this time. Everyone was actually really rich. This is something that people don't quite understand. Is people were actually making good money from the Industrial Revolution, but they were spending the money quite quickly. And they had no time to spend the money, and they're dying. And so this really weird job...
Like, London, its population was like... What's the way to put it? It was losing people rapidly. Yes. But there was so many immigrants that it was keeping its numbers up, basically. But, like... The mortality rate was ridiculous in London.
So there's this very interesting job.
It was like a sinkhole of life.
There's this job that appeared at the time, which was the manservant.
Yeah.
Like the proper manservant butler actually appeared at this time in Victorian Industrial Revolution England and France and other places. And so you had a lord who didn't work all that much.
Yeah.
So you would go to his house and buttle for him.
Yeah.
You were buttling so much, you didn't have time to be in your own house. You didn't have time to do the mundanity of your own life. So you'd hire a servant to buttle for you whenever you were home. And so it was quite popular job, which was to be the servant of a servant. Because it paid really well, because those servants got paid brilliantly.
And you got a house to yourself like half the time.
And, well, you would be there sometimes cleaning, but you didn't have to be there all day.
Yeah.
When you are working for the person, they're usually exhausted, so they aren't actually much of a problem to deal with. And you didn't have to go work in any of the factories. So it was a very popular job to be a servant. And then it was a very second popular job to be a servant's servant. And there was even cases of people being a servant's servant's servant. Because, like, if you're an entrepreneur and you're a servant's servant, you're not just going to serve the one guy, because you only need to work with him for 2 hours a day. So you do it for 10 people.
Hey, Adam, what do you do for work? Oh, I'm a servant for Bob. Oh, Bob, what do you do for work? Oh, I'm a servant for Charlie. Hey, Charlie, what do you do for work? Oh, I'm a servant to Adam. Wait a minute.
No doubt that happened.
It's money laundering.
No doubt a situation like that slightly happened.
It's like, wait, where's the money coming from?
Yeah.
Just some lord that's having fun and just going out and being a servant or something.
But the Industrial Revolution actually broke humanity, I think.
Yeah, and it wasn't even beneficial. Like, that was, like, Ford wasn't, well, maybe he was a nice guy, but the motivation I think we know about anyways was just him saying, like, no, I want more efficient workers. So I'm going to make
want to make money. I want my people to be able to afford my cars.
Yeah, he's like, if nobody can buy my stuff, I'm not going to make money, right? So he's like, I'll pay my guys lots. I'll give them rest so they don't quit, and I don't have to waste time hiring people. And I'll have the pick of the crop. Like, everyone wants to work for me, so I can choose the best of the best.
And Ford knew his work was mind-numbing. He knew that. Like, his working in those car factories sucked. And so that's why he paid so well.
But he also paid so well because he wanted them to give them all his money back.
Yes.
And he also... he paid so well because he found that when their morale and their energy levels were high, they made, like, way less mistakes. And so he was actually producing way more efficiently for the same price.
Yeah, and he had the prediction that the work week would be reduced either to 6-hour days or be 4 days a week.
Yeah.
That's his prediction. And one of the things I was reading about Ford is he's saying, I do not know what the optimal amount of time for a person to work. This is something for future people to figure out. Right now I am trying to make money and I do not have time to experiment.
Yeah.
So I will run with this because it's working for me. But in the future, it will be better for the worker and the factory owner alike.
Yeah.
And that was his prediction, which was unfortunately wrong.
Well, I mean, I think he was right that you actually gain slight efficiency still by going down. Because in my own experience, when I was working 8 hours in quotation mark days, 40-hour weeks, so much of my time was spent with my brain just hurting and me doing nothing.
Well,
and now I can even now at 6 hours or 30 hours a week, it's like I'm mostly good all the time, But even then, I'm reaching my limit a little bit here and there.
You get those offices. Like, have you ever watched The Office?
No.
You've read Dilbert, though.
Yeah.
The situation where you have the guy in the cubicle.
Yeah.
And he's playing Minesweeper for an hour, and then he's taking a water break for 15 minutes. Like, the person will work as much as you pay them to.
But they will also work as much as they can, right?
Yes.
Like, I think the person playing Minesweeper isn't necessarily bad. It's just they can't handle it.
Yeah.
There was a company during the pandemic, and before the pandemic, they're like a spy on employees company. I forget what they're called. But they were tracking the productivity of millions of people, right?
Yeah.
And they were also tracking how much they worked. And they found that hours work wasn't linked to productivity exactly. They found it was actually linked, and it wasn't actually worked to time worked either. So people that worked less weren't necessarily more productive, and people that worked more weren't necessarily more productive. They found the most productive people took really long breaks.
Yeah.
But they also worked for... they didn't work for really long periods, but they didn't do anything else. So they found the least productive employees were flipping back and forth between Facebook and their job, like, just like, or they had both flip on the screen at once or whatever, right? Like, they're multitasking, right?
Yeah.
They found multitasking very unproductive. They found people that worked for about 50 minutes and then took a 15-minute break, and then worked for 50 minutes and took a 15-minute break, way more productive. And they found people that worked for, I think it was like an hour and 12, and then took a half-hour break, were even more productive.
Yeah.
And so, like, these people that they do like a half-hour, they would do like a big, huge half-hour break where during the pandemic they're probably doing their laundry and cooking and whatnot. Which is amazing, because that means not only do you get a break from your work, when you come home at the end of the day, there's no chores. You're done, because that was your break, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of win-win. But they found that those people, when they came back to the computer, they were just like locked in for an hour and 12 minutes. They're just like, go, go, go. Because they didn't need to distract their mind with other things, because they weren't exhausted. They were going.
Yeah. Well, of course, there's also different people.
Yeah.
And so, like, people aren't equal. Like, you have a nutcase like Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
Who runs off alcohol.
Yeah.
Or who's that one guy who like eats like way too many donuts and drinks coffee, and like someone tried doing his diet and almost killed themselves?
Homer?
I think it's Warren Buffett.
No.
I think someone was trying to like do the Warren Buffett diet to see how they run his day.
Or I don't know.
And he's trying to like work the same amount of hours.
Yeah, well, some people are just built differently.
Yeah, well, like a great example of people being built differently is our dad, right? So, he's, I think, like, almost 60. And we were running on the track the other day. So this guy's had 2 hip replacements. He's almost 60. He was recovering from one of the hip replacements. He considers himself really out of shape to what he was. I'm probably in some of the best shape I've ever been in my life at, like, my ability to run.
Yeah.
And so we're out on the track and we're doing laps.
Yeah.
And so
And you're under 60.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm in my mid-20s.
Yeah. A little bit under 60.
Yeah. So I'm running. The goal was to do 10 minutes of running and then take a break, 10 minutes of running, take a break, do 10 minutes of running, take a break. And so I like start out doing my warm-up, like I walk backwards for about 5 minutes. Then I get to like the running, and our dad's running with me. And he's running slower than he'd like to run because he wants to run next to me while we're on the track. And so we do that, and I was like, okay, I need to go bathroom, I need to take a little break. So I go off to do the break. And he's still running. I come back up, and I do walk around, and then I start running with him. And I do my next 10 minutes. And then at that point, he takes a break with me, and we like start walking, we go around. It's like, all right, I want to do another 10 minutes. And so we do another 10 minutes, and we push ourselves to the end, and we're actually running quite fast. And it's like, oh man, I'm really tired at this point. And I was like, all right, let's go to the machines, and they're like resistance machines. So we're working at these resistance machines, and we're doing different kinds of sets, but we're still doing the same amount of exercise. And I'm pushing myself really hard because I'm like trying to like slightly keep up with him and like trying to do the sets. And I do my final set, and I get up, and we're both there, and we're both sweating, we're both really tired. And I suddenly feel incredibly sick. I feel absolutely sick to my stomach. I feel like I'm going to throw up.
Yeah.
So I go and sit down against the wall, and I just start sweating a whole bunch.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I think I need some water.
Yeah.
And so I get up, and I walk over to the water fountain. I get a smell full of water. I feel awful. And then all of the energy leaves my body. And there's like a nice exercise mat nearby. So I take a few steps over to it, and I actually collapse on it, like boneless collapse. And I can't get up. And I start hyperventilating, and sweat is pouring off my body.
Well, the problem was you didn't... I forget what it's called. In Idiocracy, what's that drink called?
I have enough electrolytes with Adrian.
Yeah, it's what plants crave. You need it.
Yeah. I actually hadn't eaten enough that day. Like,
Yeah.
I was slightly calorie deficient.
Yeah, but you're probably also dehydrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was dehydrated a bit too. But my point is,
Yeah. Kept going and kept going.
I couldn't keep up with him.
Yeah.
And he's had both hips
Well,
replaced.
keep this in mind though, right? 60-year-olds,
Yeah.
right, have had like 30 years more training than you.
Yes.
Like, it's unfair. They've got like twice your training.
But even, like...
My,
even that, like, just as a different thing, like, our dad is massive. Like, as a person, he is very big. And he's very strong. Like, we were cleaning out his house and we saw a flower packing certificate of, like, what he did. And it's like I can't remember, it's like 670 pounds he managed to carry on his back. And it's like, the flower packing this year, those guys were, like, struggling at 400. And these were, like, meant to be the best of the crop of that year. And they were nowhere near what he did.
I had a teacher, he trained an Olympic athlete, and he was a skier. And he said he entered a ski race when he was in his mid-30s, and there was a 70-year-old guy that left him in the dust.
Yeah.
And he's like, I should have, I'm like this professional skier, I've trained all these great people, I should have been depressed, but I wasn't. Because I told myself, I have 40 years to catch up to that guy.
Yeah, there is certain factors there, like technique and skill.
But no, some people just have endless energy.
Yeah.
Like, and there's people like you who, well, I think it's unfair, but I think there's a downside that I don't have, that you do have. There's people that just fall asleep, like you, right? Like, I lay in bed, like, and hours go by and nothing happens, but then you're just like...
Well, sometimes.
Yeah. But I think the trade-off, I have a theory that you either need to boot down or boot up.
Yeah.
Because so far in a survey I've done of like 3 people, every person that falls asleep fast takes forever to wake up.
Except when I need to be awake.
But you always need to be awake. That's the thing, right?
I don't.
Always need to be awake. I was talking to another guy, one of my coworkers, because we were talking about like people that fall asleep fast. He's like, no, I can't fall asleep fast. I need to sort all the problems of the world first before I go to bed. But oh, I didn't ask him actually.
That's how your hair turns white when you're 30.
But well, his hair is almost gray, and he's younger than me. But I think it's just his hair color.
Yeah.
He's like, he's native though. He shouldn't have anything close to. He should have like black hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, but I should ask him if he like wakes up instantly, because like when I wake up, I'm awake, right? Like there's no line in bed. It's just like I'm awake, and I've maybe very like less than 5 times kind of thing. I've been disoriented when I wake up. Like, where am I? Who am I? Like that sort of. But like I know, like, if I sleep, I had to travel recently. Wake up in a hotel bed, I'm like, okay, I'm here. I'm at this place. I'm like, I don't get disoriented like that.
I don't get disoriented.
Although
I just go...
I once had a very strong dream that I had, like, was sleeping somewhere. And when I woke up, I thought I was still there. That was one time where I was like, wait, why is everything reversed? But I think part of it is, okay, wait a minute. No, that can't be it. I've changed sleep orientations. I wondered if it was to do with, like, if you sleep north-south for southeast.
Oh.
But, wouldn't that... Imagine if every person slept either north-south or southeast, and that determined if they fell asleep fast or woke up.
No, probably not.
But I've changed orientation before, so sleeping-wise.
Gotta line up with the big dick pools.
Yeah. Well, like, it's not impossible that would be the case, right?
Yeah.
Like...
Well, there's the study on foxes.
Yeah?
So, foxes, when they hunt in the snow, when they do their jump up the air and splat on their face, which looks ridiculously cute.
Yeah.
If they're facing magnetic north, they catch prey, I think it's like 93% more than not. And it's because foxes actually use electromagnetism of their like whiskers and ears and the poles and the electromagnetic thing of the mouse to track them.
Oh, wow.
And so if they're facing the right direction, then they can actually get them.
Yeah, well, it's a very powerful field, right? Like, it must have an effect on... And that's the other... Like, I assume that electromagnetic devices have an effect on us.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not the device itself, but just the disruption of the Earth's own magnetic field, right? Like, because there's probably a little... I once saw an electric tractor drive by. Great big electric tractor. So I knew it was electric because it was silent, right? It was just like, what, this great big tractor. And it was at the end of a fairly long road. But I got to the end of the road, and I started walking along the path the electric tractor had taken. The air was different behind it. Like, big transformer batteries, they turn the air to ozone. Like they're doing stuff.
Even the sound of them, like you walk by one of those power boxes.
Oh, and yeah.
There's a YouTuber called King Trout.
Yeah.
And he was talking about this one thing, which is, it's like, in 20 years, he was doing a video on recycling.
Yeah.
Like in 20 years, plastics is going to be our generation's lead.
Yeah.
It's like, what, you guys use plastic?
Yeah.
What morons everywhere. It's super bad for you. Don't you know it gives you super cancer? And
yeah, well, like,
I had a teacher. He was a bit of a conspiracy theorist, but that's what made him fun.
yeah.
And he had two things. He said, here's a patent for a device. It's like a computer system, which is basically if you plug it into your house. So it could be installed anything. So let's say you have a smart fridge. So the fridge is plugged into your house. It can now track the amount of electricity all things in your house are emitting. So this one device knows basically the layout of your house now.
Yeah.
On top of that, because of fluctuations of electricity and things taking stuff, everything emits electromagnetic waves when they're turned on.
Yeah.
And the software can track it. So if you have this fridge installed in your house, it's a smart fridge that's sending out a signal, it can track all movements in your house.
Yeah.
And this wasn't like total crackpot, like he actually showed us the plan.
Yeah.
Like the patent and all that. And his other thing was, this is my new media teacher. He's talking about, all right, so a study was done on electromagnetism, which found out it has no effects on the human body. So a couple bought a house that was sold for cheaper because it's next to one of those giant transformers. The husband found he woke up every morning with a nosebleed. The kids were constantly having headaches. And the wife, while she was there, had a miscarriage.
Yeah.
And they all blamed it on the transformer. Now, studies and science would suggest that this should have no impact on them.
Yeah.
So they moved, and they all said their life rapidly improved.
Yeah.
And they sold the house to someone else who said, oh, it doesn't bother me as much. I said, now, there's two things you can take of this. One is it's a superstitious family, and the transformer had no effect on them. But it did have an effect on them. It made them move.
Yeah.
And it made them move because it was having effects on them. So just because it has no effect on anyone doesn't mean it's not having effect.
Well,
and then what he went on to that. Now, there's devices that we have which science says is completely pointless. So this thing here is an electromagnetic cleansing shower.
Yeah.
He shows this device. And he shows this different thing, which it looks like this pod you stand on.
Yeah.
And this thing here bombards you with magnetic radiation.
Yeah.
And it's meant to be a therapy device. Both these things are apparently quack science useless. But if they're quack science useless, why do they sell for so much? They're not useless if people are making money off them. That's a use to someone. That was like the point of the lesson.
Yeah.
But he's also saying, and they might actually have an effect. Like, that was the other stuff he's pointing out, because one of the big things of his lessons is people aren't stupid. They're human.
Mm. Well, I think the other thing is that the average person is actually fairly humble. Like, they have humility, right? So they don't assume, they don't take the elitist rationalist approach of, like, for instance, I knew a guy who was terrified of 5G and would go on crazy long rants about it. This is about 5 or 6 years ago. So I read actually a lot of papers on electromagnetic radiation, and it can't penetrate your skull. Basically, like 5G waves, they're too small, and the temperature changes they cause are basically non-existent.
Yeah,
and their range is very low. And so I read a lot of papers on this sort of thing, right? And so you're saying this transformer causes family problems, and but I was talking about the blower door earlier, right?
Yeah.
Just because the 5G towers electromagnetic radiation doesn't cause you problems doesn't mean that 5G towers don't have something that causes you problems.
Yeah.
Like they don't shoot out, let's say, microwaves or gamma rays, or they ionize the air in a way that affects you, or
so do you know about
they make a noise that disturbs you.
You know about Star Trek? They have shield frequencies. So let's go a little bit extreme here. People have a psychic aura. They have a psychic projection.
Yeah, a different sort of energy source.
And what if the right frequency disrupts that?
Yeah. No, I think sound is probably the most likely. That's basically the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Sound is a aura that...
Oh, yeah.
So I think the sound of a 5G tower might be something that you're not accounting for. Like that those electromagnetic...
Yeah. Well, no,
radiation studies are
the sound of a hot tub powering on drives me insane. If I'm stressed out and not having a good day, and I want to get sleep.
Yeah.
I will go outside and flick the breaker to turn the hot tub off. Yeah. And then I'll forget to turn it back on, and it's like 2 weeks of -20. It will damage the hot tub. But like, I hate that thing with a passion.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I think there's a lot of... That's the thing about humility is there's always more factors, right? There was a scientist, I saw the lecture on YouTube. He took a pendulum, this great big lecture hall. He said, this is a 25-pound plumb bob. This is a 50... No, I think it was like a 75-foot long rope. Hangs from the ceiling. I'm going to stand up on the third row of these bleachers here, put it against my nose, and I'm going to let go. The force of this will be, he does the math on the chalkboard, and he's like, it's enough force to go through like an inch of steel. Yeah. Or whatever it was,
Yeah, it'll destroy my head if it hits it.
If this hits my head...
I saw that.
Yeah. It's like my head will explode, basically, right? Yeah. He's like, but because I trust in science, it'll come... And because energy can't be added, right? Mm-hmm. That'll happen. And he's right. Like, he's totally fine. It all goes right? However, imagine if... so there's something that beginner cadets get. It's like... what's it called? It's called, like, leg lock or something. Where your legs go weak because you were standing wrong, and you collapse. You collapse the moment that pendulum's on the return swing. Yep. Pow! Your head's off. There's an earthquake. The rope snaps. You sneeze. You lean forward because your coordination isn't as good as you thought it was. The chair beneath you breaks. You could die, right?
The building settles. Funny.
Building settles. A gust of wind comes. Yeah. That's where the arrogance comes in. Rationalists think, oh yeah, I've accounted for the variable, so it's fine. It's like you've accounted for one variable. There's a whole lot of other stuff going on, even if you are correct.
Yeah, our physics teacher has a great physics joke. So there's this farmer, and he's having problems with his chickens. They aren't laying eggs. And his neighbor is this brilliant physicist. He's got tons of Nobel Prizes. Everyone really respects the guy. He's super smart. So the farmer goes to the physicist, and he's like, all right, my chickens aren't laying eggs. Can you fix this? Yeah. So the physicist goes into the chicken coop, and he has a measuring tape. And he's like measuring the chickens, and he's like has these calculations, and he's taking like LiDAR scans of the chickens. He's doing tons of things. So he comes back to the farmer and he's like, all right, I have a solution. However, it'll require us to put all the chickens in a vacuum, and they all have to be perfect spheres.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's more than that, right? Like, even if you can account for the existing variables, I mean, this is taking the joke too far, but even if you account for all the variables properly, you only have accounted for what you've measured.
Yes.
Like with nutrients, for instance, vitamin K, vitamin C, vitamin D, riboflavin, iron, sodium, fats.
Iodine.
Those are nutrients, right? But they aren't all the nutrients. We don't know all the nutrients. We only know a tiny fraction, like it's like 1 to 10% of the nutrients. That's all we know. Yeah. So the most important stuff, we don't know if we're getting or not, right?
Yeah.
Potentially. And that's the thing. There's so many more variables that you aren't accounting for.
But one of the really interesting things is, I can't remember. It's proteins, I think. So there's super proteins and lesser proteins. So you need all of them. You need the super proteins, you need the lesser proteins. However, if you get an overabundance of the super proteins, they can become the lesser proteins. The overabundance of the lesser proteins cannot become the super protein. So you want to get the super ones.
Or both.
Yeah, like you want to get both, but... Yeah.
If you have to, then you can convert it. Yeah. Yeah, and... But even those definitive statements, like you want to do this, you want to do that, we don't know. We never know. We can't know.
Well, you can't know. There's individual factors. There's so many things.
All you can really do at the end of the day is what feels good, right?
Yeah. Well, like even the not knowing thing, like we're so determined in science. I remember reading a story where the guy had checks. They knew there was like a problem with one of his internal organs. And so they had him set up for operation. Last minute, they had to get a different surgeon.
Yeah.
And this surgeon's like, all right, what kind of operation are we doing? And they told him, it's like, okay, let's go in. And he almost killed the guy. And why he almost killed them is this guy had mirrored organs of like the organ they're doing the operation on. And what happened here with this arrogance is the doctor who's supposed to do it beforehand had done the studies. He knew, like on the guy, he knew, okay, this guy has mirrored organs. And he sort of put in his notes, but it's like, if you know a guy's mirrored organs, it's like, oh, it's Jim with the kidney on the left side.
Yeah.
And so you don't like make huge amounts of notes on that. Then this like super professional surgeon goes in there. It's like, okay, I have to sub in for this guy. It's like, oh, it's a liver check.
Yeah.
Okay, I know how to do liver checks. He's not going to read the whole report that says this guy has a mirrored liver.
Right.
And so go in there.
Opens the wrong side.
Yeah.
There's no lever. I gotta keep digging.
Yeah, or like something else bad could happen. Like, I don't remember all the details, but it's basically like that. Just he didn't know.
Yeah.
And it's not like a doctor goes, so is your heart on the correct side? And you might not know.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know.
Like, I had a classmate, she had 3 kidneys.
Yeah. And yeah, how do you even learn that? Like,
Yeah.
what goes on there? You just, well, I think some babies, you can actually see their kidneys when they're like too big. But, actually, going back to the 5G and whatnot for a moment, there is another aspect of there which is very important for the conspiracy theorists out there.
The towers are ugly.
Well,
Like, I don't know what sort of tower it is, but there's this great view of some mountains and some buildings. I don't even know if it's a 5G tower or not, but it's some sort of like cellular tower that pokes up.
Yeah.
And it's just there, and it's huge and hideous, and I hate the thing because I look at this view and it's like, it's one of those things like it's funny, I never would have noticed how good that view was if it wasn't ruined by that stupid tower.
so you should be thankful for the tower.
Baby.
Yeah, people tend to have to get paid to put like cell phone towers in their yards and stuff because they are kind of ugly. But so 4G, I think it was I assume it was 4G, not 3G. That came before 5. Anyways, 4G towers can track your cell phone to about the accuracy of a building. So you phone the police or ambulance, and they can actually track your phone, and they can even track. I think they can track it when it's off, even because it can still ping with the battery. So they can track you to about the accuracy of a building. They're like, okay, here's the building where they are. 5G can track you to the accuracy of the room in an apartment building.
Yeah.
They're far more accurate for tracking people. So you as the government, you want to be able to track all your citizens. So you really start pushing this 5G stuff. And but of course, the conspiracy theorists are going to be all over that, right? So you start a conspiracy about how it causes all these problems with radiation. And then you start debunking that theory so that the whole fight is about the fight between, oh, it's good for you or bad for you. And it's not about the fact that it's tracking you everywhere and that it can track you incredibly accuracy and know where you are at all times. There's your conspiracy.